And greetings, Earthbound humans. I am here with, well, actually, no, let me start
Brian,
this again.
formerly known as Draconis Maximus.
Draconis Maximus.
Draconis Maximus.
Tell me, what is this? What am I doing here? What are we looking at?
This is a sport. It started off as a hobby. It's become a sport. We're fully international now. This one has been signed by all the international teams.
Oh, serious? So this is quite an established sport. This
It's an
is
established sport. The Russians are best at it, but we're trying. We're making inroads. We've got a lady who got a bronze medal. We've got a guy in Joburg who's fourth in Sword and Shield in the world, and we're doing this.
If I wanted to start this,
You'd come along to one of these things. I mean, in Durban we've got Durban Sword and Shield, which is here at Willow Creek.
Willow Creek, yeah.
You'd come along on a Tuesday evening. We'd lend you some kit. We'd teach you some moves, and we see how you go. We dress you up in armour. At the moment, I'm busy making armour. I was busy repairing one of these, which is a leg.
A leg. Is that the technical term for it?
Yeah. Well, you have the greave, you have the crease, you have the knee cop, you have the demi-greave, you have the lames, but yeah, technically it's a steel leg. Repairing and I'm making because we've got a national tournament coming up, and what I've found out is this guy's going to get hit badly on the back of his leg. So I've got one of these things, which is some leather, which is going to go around the back of his leg.
So there's rules about what you can wear and what you
There's
put on.
rules. If you want to make armor, you have to have found an effigy from the 13th or 14th century to copy.
Serious.
You can't just make what you feel like.
So it's quite
There are weight rules, there armor rules. The armor has to be passed by an international board.
I was talking to someone earlier. They said that even the shoes that you have to wear has to be
leather soles only, yeah and
that's
hand stitched.
Hand stitched.
It's a martial art discipline, and it's also a lot of fun. So
wow.
put on armor, and you usually do not get injured.
I like that. That made me feel so confident. Usually you don't get injured.
Usually you don't get injured. I mean, but yes, this is authentic. This is 14th century.
So this was made in the 14th century.
No, this is copied from
something that was made
from something that was made.
So if a man off the street, I've just seen this wonderful YouTube episode, and I've decided that that's what I want to do. Best place to get a hold of you, best place to find out what's happening and all the rest of it, would be through.
You can look up Durban Sword and Shield on the internet,
Durban
on Facebook. You can look up Battle Heritage on Facebook.
Heritage.
Any one of those.
Okay, I'm going to put a link to it in the bottom so you guys can all keep tricks.
Great. Probably a full suit of armor would cost you in the region of 10 to 15,000.
That's a lot, but I don't think you go through armor fast enough to say that.
You've got it forever, and the thing is, you start off without armor. We've got nylon swords, we've got soft kit, and we've got soft swords as well. So you would start in the technique of things. You would start with the soft kit.
So in other words, an expensive set of golf clubs or an entire suit of armor.
That's it.
I like this better than golf.
Yes.
No offense to the golf fans. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. I will shake you by the gauntlet. And yeah, look forward to seeing you around a bit more.
Keep still.
I would pass out. That would hit me so hard, I would fall on the floor and be gone for the next couple of hours, and the tape would run out.
Sword and Shield, 3 timed rounds of 1 minute. No score to be kept. This is a training round. Fighters trying out their different techniques. Fighters ready? Time. Lay on.
I have here, you were the marshal, I believe, the
That's
referee.
correct, yes.
The man that makes all the decisions, the most important person in the list.
Yes.
The list, okay.
Yeah.
Humans, allow me to present Sir Stephen Kane.
That's correct.
Good, Sir Stephen Kane. Can you tell me how the hell you got that prefix?
Well, in the context of medieval sport in South Africa, I am one of the few people that are have been honoured with the bestowal of a knighthood, and I'm called Sir Stephen Kane because I am a knight. Now there are
How
ranks.
did you achieve that?
Well, it's actually not something to be achieved as a ranking, unlike with most sports. It's actually an honor to be sought and to be bestowed rather than a rank to be achieved.
I watched a couple of the fights, the bouts.
Bouts
I'm
is
trying to use
correct,
the
yes.
correct terminology.
Yep.
A couple of bouts in the list.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a couple, and you kind of made reference, and I wanted to ask you about the point system and how the general thing goes, and if I was a layman looking in, going, why the raising of the swords, that they tap the helmets, like how does the pointing system work? If you could just give me like a basic rundown on that, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. The system that we were using today is a system derived on what we call the honor system.
Okay.
The honor system is based on a fighter declaring whether they believe a blow that was landed on them was hard enough to count as a real blow or not.
Okay.
And the idea behind the honor system is if you land a blow on your opponent and your opponent doesn't claim it, then you need to hit him harder until he does claim it. That's how it works.
That's very honourable. Yes, I approve. I like that.
You've got two different forms of fighting. You've got fighting simply for the sake of exercise and for enjoyment, which is what we were doing here today. And then you have fighting which is for a contest, and that is usually for ranking in terms of the national ranking.
And I have to admit, when I walked in and saw you affectionately known as the Purple Pompadour, which I think is fantastic.
He was the Scarlet Pimpernel.
The Scarlet Pimpernel. You heard it here. A fun extra, if you will, to dress in the medieval garb.
Absolutely. The whole concept of doing the sword fighting the way that we do it is to try to be historically accurate in terms of the armor that we use and in terms of the clothing that we use. In some cases, as I am now, this is simply it's really a costume, which I've dressed in for the occasion, but I actually do fight rapier contests in this clothing because this is what they would have been wearing in those days when the rapier was the most popular civilian weapon.
Is this a martial art?
Absolutely. What we are doing is called reenactment, and it is a part of the worldwide interest and revival in European martial arts. There was a very comprehensive martial arts system that was taught to European fighters. They were taught how to use their long swords. They were taught how to use their arming swords and their shields. They practiced and they trained very effectively to use those, and they were a very highly trained brotherhood.
So this isn't so much, well, it isn't just a martial art. It's also a sort of preservation, if you will,
Correct.
of all these techniques and all these styles and all these weapons and all these gems of history.
Correct.
That can be reenacted here,
Correct.
which I think is fantastic. I do have a lot of viewers who are in a variety of ages, and some being fairly young.
Yes.
What is the age limit to come and get involved in this, or in your area get involved in this?
From about 18 onwards is probably the optimal age. And we have one fighter who's still fighting in his 60s. He's 65, Richard. And
we met Richard. Richard's actually the person who we interviewed last that got us involved in this.
There you go. And Richard is still fighting.
So if people wanted to come and learn more about these things, or if someone is a history buff and they really enjoyed the old medieval ways of life and looking into that kind of thing, then I presume we would encourage everyone to come and have a look at it.
Absolutely. But there's three different things that we're actually doing now.
Okay.
There are two clubs here in Durban which people can join. We have the Durban Sword&Shield Club, which meets here on a Tuesday night.
Link in the below.
That's between 6:30, anytime from 6:30 till 7 is be here, and then we can get you going.
Every Tuesday.
We'll teach you the basics every Tuesday night. Then in Drummond there is Rogue Squadron. Krista Martin and Josh Sutty run that club, and they will also teach you more about they concentrate more on the historical medieval battle, the world fighting rules that we compete with.
Okay.
And then we have a third initiative, which is actually launching in the first weekend in September, which we're calling Medieval Combat Kits. Now that is for children to come here and to be taught proper medieval technique, proper medieval combat training, but using soft weapons and techniques that are aimed at introducing them to this as a concept for knee highs onwards. But I wouldn't say 3 and 4 year olds, obviously, but anyone from around about, I would say from about 7 onwards. A large 6-year-old probably would be
7
all right
or
as
a
well.
large 6-year-old, whatever we can find.
But
No, that's
basically,
fine.
yes, for children who actually want to learn this and learn it in a safe environment,
that's fantastic.
we've put together soft weapons, we've put together proper protective equipment for them, and we're putting together a proper organized curriculum to train them with. So
That's
it's not just going to be playing around, it's going to be actual teaching.
That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to assume that everything that we've spoken about can be found in Facebook webpage and all the web pages I'm going to link in the thing below.
Yes.
So if anyone wants to find out more, they must just come.
Absolutely. There is a Medieval Combat Kids Facebook page, so if you look that
really?
up, you'll be able to link into that in the video.
I'll add that to the list of links
that.
that is appearing below.
This is a sport of goodwill, it's a sport of chivalry. It's not a sport where we want people to get het up with each other and start beating each other up. This is about a heritage, it's about sharing our common heritage. Anybody from Europe right the way through to the Middle East shares this heritage of the Middle Ages. It's all part of our culture, and it's a great way for us all to get together and celebrate our common heritage as a people.
And have some fun in the process.
Have fun in the process, exactly right.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know what's the proper procedure to say goodbye to a sir, so I'm going to give you a
just
hearty
say-
handshake and say thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And I see there's some knights about to go.
Yep.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Krista is armed with a polearm called a arm. Can be used as both an axe and as a thrusting weapon. Roland is armed with the long sword, two-handed weapons, both of them. And we're going to fight this morning to 10 acknowledged blows. Each fighter will choose whether a blow has been landed powerfully enough for them to count, and they will indicate it by a raised hand or a nod. I will keep count. So, fighters come forward. Touch blades. Step back. Fighters ready. Lay on.
Earthbound humans, I am here with Chris Martin.
Yeah.
Just Chris.
Just Chris.
Just Chris Martin, who is so humbly a bronze medal winner
Bronze medal, yeah, for polearm.
for polearm.
Yeah, INCF 2015.
Okay, forgive the ignorance, what does that mean in terms of polearm? I'm thinking that being on horses with...
No,
that's a lance.
It's a foot combat weapon.
Okay.
It's a big blade on the end of a pole.
Oh well, there we go. Pole,
Yeah,
arm,
polearm.
armed pole. There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're a bronze medalist. Is that South Africa or is that internationally?
IMCF means International Medieval Combat Federation.
Okay.
So it's effectively the world champs.
That's fantastic. I'm so proud that you are South African.
It was a very, very big moment for me because it brought the sport into South Africa as well. I felt like it wasn't just my medal, it was the country's medal.
Has there been anyone after, anyone before? Is this the first one we've won?
First and only.
That makes you a bit of
So far.
celebrity.
So far. Well, I wouldn't say celebrity, but, it was an achievement and I'm proud to have done it, for my country.
Congratulations again. I have to ask, how did you get into this? I mean, it's not a very well-known sport in South Africa at the moment.
Well, friends of mine were trying to get me to come and train with them for years and years, and eventually at it was the Iron Maiden tribute at Bern.
At Bern?
Yeah, a while ago. It was 2010. I asked a friend of mine if he would bring his group to come and do a demonstration for the Pagan Freedom Day event that I was helping to organize.
Okay.
And so he did, and I was taken because I've been reading fantasy novels forever and ever, and I was never the princess. I was the guy on the horse with the sword and the armour. And
I love that. It seems to be that the imagination and the sort of lore and the fluff and the fun stuff of it is what brings people into this.
Big draw, yeah, it is. And I mean, like Game of Thrones now being very commercially, sort of socially acceptable, it's not just in the sort of realm of the fantasy, which is a very tiny portion of the population. It's now very mainstream, and that's been a huge leg up for our sports as well, because now every time we say, oh, we fight with swords, and people go, what, fencing? And we go, no, more like, have you seen Game of Thrones?
It's
and
nice
everyone's like, oh.
Tell me the journey. I mean, you don't just go from...
I saw them fighting and beheading water bottles with a sharp sword, and I was like, I've got to do that. And I didn't get my arse into gear until the very next year. They came back and did the same thing for Pagan Freedom Day again. And I said to myself, no, I can't not do this anymore. So I went the very next Tuesday, and I didn't miss a training session for like 5 years.
5 years. So just keep at it. Keep hitting it away.
Just, you know, when you start fighting, you sort of have all of these preconceptions about how it's going to be. But you have to have an open mind to be able to accept the training that you're receiving and sort of reject all of those movie sort of things that you've seen, you know, those tropes that have been embedded into your subconscious from when you were tiny. You know, we don't spin around and do all of these fancy moves. It's not really
practical.
You know, it's not practical, and so that sort of thing. And you also don't realize how heavy the armor is.
Yeah, I've been watching the guys. They're heavy breathers. Like after a
They're
minute
heavy
and a half.
breathers. They really are. The beauty of this sport is that you can take it to hobby level, where you go once a week and you train, and maybe you do a bit of soft sword, maybe you've got armor, maybe you don't, but everyone is happy to accept you at that level. Or you can take it further, and Josh and I have made it our lifestyle.
So tell me more about Rogue Squadron there. I understand that you it's not a breakaway, it's a sort of
We're a team.
Auxiliary team.
Our whole focus is on training people in armor for Bahut and for pro fights.
So I understand, Bahut is basically not one-on-one,
No.
it's everyone above.
It's team fighting, yeah.
And it's Bahut.
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 B-U-H-U-R-T. Some people will spell it B-O-H-U-R-T.
I almost want to call it a bigger bout. Like a bout seems small. I don't know, I'm learning the terminology. That's not important. It's not important. It's fine. If people want to correct me, they can do so in the comments below. It'll be fine.
You can call it melee as well.
Okay.
Because melee is a good, general term.
Cool.
I was the only armored female fighter in South Africa until 2015. Yeah.
2015?
Yeah. So for 4 years, from 2011 to 2015, I was fighting guys.
Okay. You have a camera. You have an open forum. Any messages you want to encourage young women looking at, or older women,
Okay.
because there's a 67-year-old fighting?
First of all, there are no specific body types that we require for women. It doesn't matter what size you are, what age you are. One of the best actually, female American fighters is 50. So it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what shape you are.
Doesn't matter your fitness, you'll get that.
Yeah, you'll get that as well. It depends obviously on your level of dedication to the sport. But there is absolutely no reason at all why you shouldn't compete with us. And don't be afraid to get hurt. Because if your armor's good enough, then you're cool.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
And best of luck for the next challenge. And best of luck for getting more female fighters. You guys join in. More female fighters into the list, into the ring, into the...
We'll see you in the lists.
See you in the lists. Earthbound Humans, I'm here at Willow Creek, and this, Shannon, is the owner and proprietor of Willow Creek, which is where we are right now. How long have they been coming here? How has it affected business?
The fighters have been here, since about October last year.
Pulling some people through the doors, though.
Yes, of course. Yes, it's a main attraction. Big
Serious?
attraction.
Other animals that aren't human here. There's some horses. What have you got in this place?
We got your usual farm animals. We've got some exotics as well, like an alpaca,
You get an alpaca?
an iguana.
An iguana?
You
Okay.
haven't seen the alpaca yet. You like to spit at men.
I don't want to see the iguana anymore. I mean, the alpaca.
Yeah.
The iguana spitting would have been interesting.
Yeah. The iguana's just laid eggs this morning, actually.
Serious?
Yes, for the first time.
I heard someone say that your iguana was male.
And we've got a female as well.
So you have more than one?
Yes.
Okay, thank goodness. But I do know that you have a lot of sheep and a lot of goats because those have been screaming through every interview. Is it feeding time throughout the whole day or something?
No, they free roam when we're quiet. So when they're penned up, when there's lots of people, they get restless.
So you guys are open all day, every day?
Every day except for Mondays during public school terms. We do kids parties, we do school tours.
All size of humans, manner, shape, size. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
I won't subject you to any more of this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching. It's been really interesting. I've filmed some knights, I've filmed some archery, I've filmed some goats and sheep, and I will see you humans in the next video. Cheers.
Your shield is hampering you because